We are about 3 weeks out from the official release of College Football 25, and with recruiting being such an important part of college football, I want to go ahead and show you guys the top 10 incoming freshmen that are going to be in the game this year. So obviously this list is all speculation, but I think we have a pretty good idea, especially my top 4 to 5 spots of who the best incoming true freshman will be. So with that being said, let's get into the list. So starting off the list at number 10, we have Treyz Green. He's going to be heading to LSU this fall. So he's an enormous pass catcher who has elite height, standing at about 6'7" and 225 pounds. So before his senior year of high school, he was 240 before he slimmed down. So he's adaptable, kind of depending on whether or not you want to play him more of an inline tight end or H-back role. So we'll have to see what they do in real life. But he finished his senior season with 53 receptions for 960 yards and 12 touchdowns. He's also a two-sport athlete, so he's going to be playing both football and basketball at LSU. And he did have multiple D1 offers to pretty much do the same thing elsewhere. The biggest priority with Green and his development will be his route running, but he's going to be at LSU, spending time around some of the best receiver coaches in the country, as well as the best receivers, so I wouldn't worry here. Moving over to number 9, we have Oklahoma's Tatum. So the running back is listed at 5'10", 205 pounds. He went to a Texas 5A powerhouse and finished his career as Longview High School's all-time touchdowns leader, and he also eclipsed the 4,000-yard rushing threshold. On top of his football career, he also ran track, where his fastest time was a 21.7 in the 200-meter just this past spring. He plays with a lot of patience, so he really knows how to wait for his blocks to materialize. And I feel like just overall he plays above his listed weight, so he has that combo of both speed and power. He is my pick for this class's best true running back. Coming in at number 8, we have Penn State's Reynolds. So he's a tight end standing at 6'4", 215 pounds. Last season, he caught 48 passes for 754 yards and 8 touchdowns. He originally started his high school career off as a quarterback before he switched positions over to tight end and obviously found success there. He's also extremely athletic, so he clocked a 4.5 in the 40-yard dash to go along with the 38-inch vertical. And he's going to Penn State, so he's an uber athletic tight end going to Penn State. We know what's going to happen here. He's going to develop handsomely. He's going to end up being probably a 3rd, 4th round pick, and he's going to have a long NFL career. So just off the top of my head, we got Pat Freiermuth, we got Mike Gesicki, and then I'm sure Theo Johnson, who was just drafted this past season, is also going to fall into that category. So then moving over to number 7, we have Clemson's TJ Moore. So the 6'3" wide receiver caught 92 passes for 2,300 yards and 30 touchdowns in his final 2 years of high school. He's also on the younger side of the grade, so that basically means that he's going to develop a lot more than some of the people who maybe reclass once or twice. We have guys who are 18, 19 coming into their freshman season, and TJ hasn't even turned 18 yet. If I were to give him an NFL comp, I would definitely say T. Higgins. He gets really large at the catch point. Not quite the best route runner yet, but that's something that he can easily develop being at Clemson. At number 6, we have Texas A&M's Terry Bussey. So he's a true Swiss Army knife. He went to a super small school in Texas where he was basically unstoppable. At 5'10", 180 pounds, he's basically lightning in a bottle. So he's super compact. And then as a junior, he threw for 2,000 yards passing, had 2,500 rushing, and then 70 touchdowns to go along with it. And then on the defensive side of the ball, he had 300 tackles, 24 interceptions between his freshman and junior years. Unfortunately, his senior year was cut short, so his stats aren't as dominant there, but he was able to lead his team to their first ever state championship. So Bussey is one of those guys where you can kind of put him wherever you want him next season. Coming in at number 5, we have Alabama wide receiver Ryan Williams. He stands at 6'1" and 165 pounds. Over the course of his final 2 seasons of high school, he accounted for 4,600 all-purpose yards to go along with 65 touchdowns. So far, he's drawn a lot of comparisons to Devontae Smith. So this is basically due to both their frame, standing at about 6'1" and kind of undersized in the weight department, but also the natural ability to really create separation at any part of the field. So both Williams and Smith are really great route runners. Obviously, Williams isn't all the way there yet. Once again, he's going to be a true freshman this upcoming season. Pair this with his elite speed, he was able to clock numerous sub-11 100 meters and sub-22 200 meters. He was also the Gatorade Player of the Year back-to-back years in Alabama, so he's an absolute monster and someone I would want to be building my team around post-Saban. Coming in at number 4, we have Auburn's Cam Coleman. So standing at 6'3" and 200 pounds, he possesses the ideal frame for that prototypical X receiver. Last year as a senior in high school, he caught 61 passes for 1,400 yards and 18 touchdowns. He really has the ability to create separation with his speed, quickness, as well as his leaping ability. He played basketball growing up, so he's one of those guys who's really just able to just go up and get the ball. My pro comparison for him is someone like George Pickens. So he has those hands, he has that size, he's speedy, but he also is a really great mover out in space. I project him as pretty much to be a day one starter, or at least a day one contributor at Auburn, and then also probably a day one NFL draft pick once he decides to leave for the draft. Coming in at number 3, we have Nebraska's quarterback of the future in Dylan Raiola. So he has an NFL caliber arm, and he has that perfect quarterback size as well. So he's 6'3", 230 pounds. He completed 159 passes last season for 2,819 yards, along with 34 touchdowns to go with just a single interception. So he grew up playing baseball a lot, so that's something you always like to hear from a quarterback. He did clock an 89-mile-per-hour fastball as a high school freshman before he gave it up to focus on football. His NFL comparison is someone like Matthew Stafford, so not the most mobile, but definitely far from a stack shoe. So he's also the son of Dominic Raiola, who was a center at Nebraska, so a lot of roots there, which makes sense why he ended up committing there. He's a 5-star quarterback. I couldn't tell you the last time Nebraska got a 5-star quarterback, but they haven't been to a bowl game since 2016, so I think Dylan and Coach Matt Rule are definitely going to be able to turn it around over at Nebraska this season. So then coming in at number 2, we have Florida quarterback DJ Lagow. So the dual threat quarterback is standing at 6'3" and has been listed at some places as heavy as 240 pounds. So I would think of Anthony Richardson, Cam Newton, from that same type of class or archetype of quarterbacks. So he's the number 1 ranked quarterback in this class. It's between him and Dylan, depending on where you look. But his father, Derek Lagow, was a former Baylor running back. So being athletic, playing D1 football, it runs in the family. But last season, he completed 289 passes for 4,605 yards and 59 touchdowns to go along with just 8 interceptions. And then on the ground, he carried the ball for 100 times for 953 yards and 16 touchdowns. Although he probably won't end up starting this upcoming season, he's definitely a guy you can kind of look out for, maybe build your dynasty around. And me personally, if I ever decide to use Florida in online head-to-head, I think Lagow will be the way to go. Just with his measurables and what he projects out to be, I think it just will be a bunch of fun to play with this guy in the game. And then coming in at number 1, this should be no surprise, but we have Ohio State's Jeremiah Smith. So the wide receiver stands at 6'3", 215 pounds. So perfect size. He can really just simply overpower defensive backs, but he's not just a contested catcher with great ball skills. He also possesses dynamic route running ability. As a senior, he caught 88 passes for 1,400 yards and 19 touchdowns on the way to his 3rd consecutive state title. So he had an awesome high school career. He's looking to pair that up with an awesome college career. He was also the first player in Ohio State's 2024 recruiting class to lose his black stripe. Basically, this was a tradition started by Urban Meyer back in 2012. Once you get your black stripe off, that's what officially makes you a Buckeye. So up until that point, you're on the team, but you're not really on the team. And he was able to do it in just 4 practices, which is a record for the program. But overall, that's going to do it for my list of the top 10 offensive freshmen to be on the lookout for in college football 25. I know that only 85 players are able to make it into the game for each team. So I believe all of these guys should be on that list. All of them are pretty high profile guys, so 4 or 5 star guys, and not just preferred walk-ons and things like that. So I'm really looking forward to this game. Looking forward to the overalls of these guys, specifically Jeremiah Smith, because he looks to have been a great contributor so far in spring practice. But overall, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you comment who your favorite team is, what your favorite feature is for college football 25 this year coming up. But yeah, definitely, once again, thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one.